My name's Gavin, nice to meet you. Welcome back to Gavin Talk About YouTube channel. We're talk about anything and everything. Today we're going to talk about Lilo Stitch release in 2025. If you guys haven't already, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to talk about spoilers and much more. Stay tuned for a little bit of the beginning. I'll tell you when we're going to get into spoilers, but I want to talk about the director and the budget, and let's get right into the video. Pow! Quick, I want to mention the director and his notes and his things that he's been saying on interviews. Dean Fleischer Camp, he had talked about Gone 2, and we're going to talk more about him later on when we get to spoilers. But this isn't really a spoiler. Gone 2's not in this at all. And them saying, oh, we just can't. No, you could. Because I feel like, because a few years ago, Once Upon a Time, the TV show, Once Upon a Time, did Marshmallow, the big abominable snowman from Frozen. And you're telling me you can't make Gone 2 work? Bro, Marvel's about to do Galactus, and you're telling me that Gone 2 can't work? Okay. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm called bullshit. I think that corporate Disney saying, oh, well, we didn't want to give them more money to do Gone 2. Okay, whatever. And also, wanted to point out that the budget was $100 million. Enough, but when you put together all the other stuff, and then you put together Jumba and then Weekly, then yeah, that is roughly $100 million. Meanwhile, you had Snow White, which was 250, or like somewhere around there. And that also ties into what we've heard about this movie before this got released. This was supposed to be a Disney Plus movie. This was supposed to be a movie straight to Disney Plus because they didn't have any faith in it. But with recent, bummers about other movies, losing money on movies, losing a shit ton of money off the live action movie, you guys decided to put it out in theaters. Okay. It did feel like a direct-to-DVD movie, or like direct-to-TV movie. Not saying this is bad, it just felt like it. And then I feel like now is the time to get into spoilers. If you guys haven't watched this movie, I do encourage you guys to go watch it in theaters. Actors, directors, writers, they all put their time and effort for you to watch it on the big screen. So I do feel like you should go watch this in theaters. However, I feel like this is a movie that if you chose to wait on Disney Plus, yeah, you're not really missing anything. However, I do feel like you should go in theaters. So if you guys don't care about spoilers, then stay tuned, right? Okay, we're gonna get into spoilers. Going into this movie, I didn't know that Jumbo was gonna be the main villain. I did not know that. So it caught me by surprise when we found out that Jumbo was the villain. He's supposed to be the crazy uncle, or like the father figure of Stitch, and you made him the villain. Zach Galifianakis did a great job. The actor of Prickly Billy did a great job on both fronts. They did great. However, it felt like right when Jumbo turned into a villain, everything switched, and then that got Galifianakis hate. I thought they did brilliant with it. With Jumbo up until he turned into a villain. I thought they did brilliant with Pleakley too, up until Jumbo turned into a villain. Splitting them up was not okay. I'll talk about Pleakley here later on. I just want to touch on Jumbo, since he was the main, villain. I feel like we should have had something else happen. And the humans, let's talk about the humans. And since we are going to talk about the humans, let's talk about Jumbo and Pleakley as humans. That worked for me. It did. They had chemistry together. Pleakley and Jumbo had chemistry together. Zach and Billy had chemistry together. So I thought that was great. I thought it was fantastic. But then we go into this where they're too scared to keep them together, so they had to split them up, because I don't know if it's gonna get me hate. I don't care. Pleakley and Jumbo always had that thing to where they always had that spark, right? Sorry, I'm blanking on words. It was always hinted that they were together, that they were romantic together. The fact that they chose not to go down that route kind of told me what I need to know. So I'm not gonna run with the whole story of Disney is homophobe. I'm not going to. I do think they were scared of pulling the trigger with that, so I think that's why they did that. That's one of the main reasons. But let's get away from Jumbo and Pleakley and let's go to the humans. To the other humans, like the neighbor. The neighbor they took up too much time. I feel like they ruined the adoption scene where the neighbor was in it, and I didn't really care to learn her name, how bad it was. I didn't like that character. I don't think that character was needed in this. I felt like if we had Nani and Lilo, that was all we needed. They ruined that scene. And yeah, the humans took up a little bit too much screen time. But it worked for some parts, didn't work for all parts. And then when Lilo was drowning, them going to a hospital, it felt very, very melodramatic. This movie felt dramatic on parts where it shouldn't have been dramatic. Felt too melodramatic. Like, oh no, Lilo's gonna die. No, she's just laughing. Like, gee. But, after the humans, I do have Gone To again. I want to talk more about Gone To and why this needed Gone To. Not only does the original have Gone To, we also can't believe you guys fucking did this. Gone To was the main fucking villain. You made Jumbo the villain, right? Fine, I guess. But you also kinda ruined the beginning scene for me. If you guys didn't have the budget to do Gone To, then you should have just said a straight up Stitch and fucking Jumba storyline. Should have just done that for a movie. That would have been interesting as hell. To see Jumba in the lab creating Stitch. That would have been awesome. That would have been fun. But you didn't do that because you guys were scared and you guys weren't scared of losing money. So then we go to this question that I put. Should they make more? I think if they have ideas, they should. Which I'm pretty sure they teased it. And I'm pretty sure they will make more. But it's like, it's very questionable if we want to make more with this. It's not, again, not a bad movie. It's just, this movie didn't sell me on, hey, we need to do more. But yeah. After that, let's talk about David. In my opinion, they really made David too dumb. And they took him out of the iconic surfing scene. And that kind of irritated me. If you're going to take him out of the iconic surfing scene, then why are you making this? David was such like a big brother in the first film, not for Nani, but like for Lilo and Stitch. And instead of doing the whole, I really thought they're gonna be fine at the beach. They did it at a hospital where it was very melodramatic, and we didn't need that. But I digress. The one thing that they changed, I absolutely adored. Cobra Bubbles being a CIA agent worked for me. It worked for me. And, doing that, making the social worker, which I'm going to talk about that, because I thought that was fucking awesome. Making a social worker a different person also made me happy. Made me very, very pleased with the movie. But yeah. I love Bubble in this movie. I like that he's still a part of the family now. We have Nani, which amazing, right? So Nani, I liked her, and I like the actress that played her. But I feel like they really made her too irritable, and I didn't understand why. And then as the plot kept going, it kind of felt like we are gonna make it so Lilo doesn't go with Nani, isn't it? And that's exactly what happened. I'll talk about that later on, but yeah. Now let's talk about the social worker, and here's why I got excited about that. She's the OG Nani. So I love it when actors come back from the original and come back and be in the remakes. Cause Stitch, the actor of Stitch, came back to be Stitch in this one. Which kind of makes me irritated because he was also the director and writer of the original. Why didn't they just hire him to be the director and writer for this one? Because isn't DreamWorks doing the same thing with How to Train Your Dragon, but yet How to Train Your Dragon has the original director? And that looks like it's going to be the best live action we've gotten. But I don't know. I'm a little irritated that they did that. But let's go back to OG Nani, the social worker. The social worker was actually pretty cool. I do like that they switched from Cobra Bubble being a social worker to her being a social worker. And her and Nani had great chemistry. Her and Lilo had chemistry-ish, you know. But yeah, I think this was a great, cool way to separate the social worker and Bubbles. So, however, there is a scene where they were very dramatic and they cut the tension with oh, she's gone. Where they're both standing at the top of the stairs and they slow it down as Nani's walking up and they're looking at each other. And like, I get it, it's sad, but like, did you have to slow down the movie like that? I talked about Nani, let's talk about Lilo. I think that was perfect casting for Lilo. I think the actress did a phenomenal job as Lilo. I think Lilo was the best in this movie, the best they could be, right? She was fantastic in this movie. And I think her and Nani had great chemistry. But every time when I saw her and Stitch on screen together, that's where I felt like that was where it felt earned. It felt like, oh yeah, this is a Lilo and Stitch movie. Fortunately, we don't really get much of that, but I wish we had more. If we do get more movies, I'd like to have a Lilo and Stitch more together. But it kind of looks like we might just get Stitch as a solo movie too, since they have done that in the past. I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see how it goes. Preakley. Let's talk about him a little more. Preakley was great in this movie. I think he did fantastic. I think Billy acted as if he was Preakley, and I think Preakley wasn't exactly what he was supposed to be. He's supposed to be the Earth know-it-all who is very, like, actually, like, and very all over the place and very nerdy, right? And that's what I liked about him. So, yeah. And like I said, I already talked about them splitting up the two, and I felt like Preakley and Jumba, they shouldn't have been split up because I felt like there's always a chemistry there where, yeah. But I felt like Disney was too scared to keep them together. Because you could have easily made a different... Oh, you could have gotten the rabbit that was in the film to be the main villain. I felt like that would have been a great little rewrite. But don't make Jumbo the villain. Not anymore. When I was in theater, they do repeat jokes a lot, right? And when they do that, it's like one end where they'll say it once, laughter. When they say it again, dead silence. So, like that's where it's like too much, you know? They really do repeat things throughout the movie and it gets stupider and stupider every time. But Stitch, the design for the aliens, fantastic. The councilwoman, the other space people, that was awesome. The design for Stitch was awesome too. And the way that they introduced him, the first 10 minutes was spot on, crazy, fantastic, and loved it. First 10 minutes was great. And then it slowly lost me when we introduced the neighbor. But, going back to Stitch, the way we introduced him into Earth was fantastic. It's just straight up out of the animation. The way we had him, we had Stitch meet Lilo. And that was ruined because of a neighbor. I feel like we should replace the neighbor with Nani, and that would have been better. However, fine, right? And the wedding scene was funny when he came in and crashed the wedding. That was funny. The flower in his hair was cute. I do think this should have been a Disney Plus thing, though. But they were scared because they lost a lot of money to the point where it's like, oh no, we need to do damage control. So, I feel like they might make Stitch the future, and I'm a little scared about that, but it is what it is. My rating is a set 6.5 out of 10. Not bad, but just above average. I think the best part of this movie are the best of the best, but I also think the worst part of this movie is the worst of the worst. I think that when we got into the third act, I was a little out of it because I was like, okay, like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we doing this? The first time when the guy dropped his snow cone was great callback. It was funny. And then the second time, no laughter. You can't just repeat the same joke twice or it won't be funny. So, yeah. Overall, 6.5. Oh, that's a 7.4. Fine. My ranking will be 7.5. Just above average. Not a bad movie. I think we could have done a lot more, though. I also think that if we could, we should have had the Gonto in there. Overall, fine movie. I just think we need to add more unrealistic things, and we need to not let the director just shun on characters just because you couldn't do it realistically, because none of this shit is realistic. So, I'm sorry to break it to you, none of this is realistic. So, like, him saying, well, it wasn't realistic, so we couldn't do it. Nah, you could have done it, the studio just didn't want you to. But when I tell you I like this movie, I did. It's just not as good as what could have been. And I'm always thinking about what could have been. But if you guys like this review, please hit that button, please hit that subscribe button. Maybe comment down below what your favorite part and what your least favorite part of this movie was. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.